Well, yesterday we heard from the Democrats. They're confident the Philippines will have a friend in the U.S. if Joe Biden wins. Now we get to know the side of the Republicans. We go above and beyond the headlines with a Filipino-American Trump campaign advisor and surrogate. Herman Martir joins us live from Dallas in the state of Texas. Herman, thank you very much for joining us at magandang umaga sa iyo.
Magandang gabi sa inyo.
Thank you very much, Herman, for joining us. Now, tell us first, Joe Biden has just overtaken President Trump in the state of Georgia. What does this tell the Trump campaign as far as you are concerned and as far as Phil-Am supporters of Mr. Trump are concerned?
Well, the president was right all along. Mail-in ballots had led to total chaos, complete chaos. President Trump was leading in almost every battleground state run by Democrats, and almost one by one, his lead started to magically disappear overnight. And it is so sad because this type of election shouldn't happen in a country like the United States of America. We are a developed country, and this shouldn't be happening in our country where suddenly the votes were stopped, counting votes were stopped in the middle of an election. So it is so sad, and we are.
But Herman, isn't But Herman, isn't that because the mail-in ballot system was precisely because of the pandemic, so that people didn't have to flock to the on election day, to all these voting centers. At the same time, there were several states, hindi ba, that decided that they would count the mail-in ballots after the votes that are cast on election day. Isn't that the reason why the mail-in ballots are being counted now? And the way people are explaining it, that's because most of the mail-in ballots are really from the Democratic side.
Well, that is not true because a lot of, for example, in Georgia, we haven't still counted ballots that's from the military. So we found ballots been discarded, found it in ditches, and they're not letting poll watchers in, and we have an order that from the judge that we will be allowed to watch the counting of the votes, but they didn't allow us, even though we had an order from a judge. So the Democrats will try to steal this election, and we have proof and it will come out very soon. And President Trump will make sure that all legal votes, illegal ballots will be counted, not illegal. Legal votes will be counted for the sake of the American people. We owe this to the American people. 69 million people voted for the president. Many of them, the minorities that voted for the president, we owe this to them because they supported the president, believing in his vision and his plan for America. And so we will make sure that every legal ballot, illegal vote will be counted. And we will go to court and we will see what happens. The good thing about it is that nobody decides who wins the election except that unless it is certified by the Senate. But the Supreme Court, we may have to go to the Supreme Court to make sure that all legal votes are counted and the voice of American people is heard, and make sure that we have maintained integrity in this country of ours.
Are you saying, Herman, that you believe President Trump when he claims that there was fraud and that the elections were corrupt? And as far as you're concerned, you are saying that the elections were fraudulent and were corrupt?
Yes, definitely. The votes cannot be cast after polls are closed. And last minute, they changed the rules in a lot of the battleground states. And for them to stop counting in the middle of the election, when President Trump was leading in almost major battleground states, it's unheard of. Never in the history of America that we stopped the counting of the ballots. So we want to make sure that only legal ballots, legal votes will be counted, and that we will challenge this and make sure that everything that is done is correct and that represents the votes of people that are legal in this country, who are legal in this country.
Mm-hmm. Herman, just a while ago, you said that it's going to come out soon. Are you referring to evidence? Because the next question is when anyone claims anything or makes allegations, you need to prove them, right? You need to show the evidence. So there is evidence. There is solid evidence for this, and is that what you were referring to?
Yes, a lot of evidence. It will come out soon. And, we've expected this, that they will take every lead in different battleground states because they want to steal this election away from the American people. And we have evidence. And I've seen it personally,
Mm-hmm.
people voting
Okay.
people voting from different states and voting twice. And that shouldn't happen.
Mm-hmm. Are you, it sounds like you're describing, well, here in the Philippines, now, when elections were manual, we had what we called flying voters. Ano yun, flying voters?
It
Sa
is
America?
flying voters. It's it is of all places. Philippines should know, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, the Philippines know dagdag bawas. You cannot vote twice
Mm-hmm.
and vote in different states, and so multiply that by the thousands,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of ballots as
Mm-hmm.
well. We found that some are dead people have voted in Nevada, in
Mm-hmm.
Wisconsin, and other places, and so we have proof. That is why we make sure that
Yeah.
this is exposed for the sake of the future generation.
Okay. But you're not questioning the results in the states which President Trump had won, right?
Now we want to make sure every vote counts. Reason why the key battleground states, that's because
Mm-hmm.
that's where they focus on. The Democrats focus on key battleground
Yeah.
states
Okay.
because a lot of the red states, we knew that we will have a clean election because it was run by people. Democrats all often have
Okay.
issues with integrity, voting integrity.
All right. So, Herman, the way you talk and the way President Trump talks, it doesn't sound like there is going to be, if the elections show, if the election results show that Joe Biden won, it doesn't sound like there's going to be a peaceful transfer of power in January 20.
Well,
Is
we
that what's
have to
going to
do what is
happen? President Trump will hold on to office. He will not leave the White House.
No, we haven't declared Biden. The Senate has not declared or certified
Yeah.
electoral vote unless they certify it. Anything is not legal. He cannot claim election. The media in America does not decide who wins the election. It is the Senate who decides the election. So we mount a challenge. We make sure that all legal votes are counted, and that is why we're going to court and make sure that it's a clean and fair election. This is America. We have to make sure that we do what is right for the American people. And it is important that we mount this challenge because we owe the American people the truth.
Mm-hmm. Well, it is November 6 now here in the Philippines. And the inaugural of the next president, whether it is a re-elected Donald Trump or an elected Joe Biden, is January 20. Are you saying that we are not going to see if it is Biden who wins, we are not going to see a Joe Biden inaugural because, as you're saying, the elections were fraudulent? And you're saying that the Senate isn't going to, the Senate will have to certify this.
Not until we have a legal result of the election. We cannot just allow any fraudulence to dictate the outcome of the election. We have to maintain integrity. So we need to do what is right and what is just, and wait for the legal process to finish, and make sure that everything is legal. And we make sure that every vote will be counted, every legal vote. Because the problem is this: they're allowing votes that are not even legal. And so we want to make sure that there's a recount in all battleground states, in contested states, because if we don't, then we lose the integrity of this election, and we are afraid what will happen in the election.
Okay, so when you say not until we see, so can you give us a timetable? When is a legal result going to come out? You know, how long is it going to take for the courts there, in different states, and perhaps or your Supreme Court? How long is it going to take for the court to make a decision?
We have filed lawsuits in key battleground states, and so the next thing is that we let this finish. We let the counting finish. These are Democrat-run cities and states, and many of them before the election really voiced their opinion of their hate towards President Trump, and unashamedly said it that Trump will never win. Whatever it takes, he will never win in our state. And that shouldn't you say that. You're an election official. That is a sign of bias to a candidate. And so definitely we will make sure that after the election, after the states counted their vote, that we will take this all the way to the Supreme Court and let the court decide, make sure that votes are counted. The legal votes, all of them are counted. All of them are counted so that we will make sure that the voice of the American people are heard.
Filipino-American Trump campaign advisor and surrogate, Herman Martir, who's joining us live from Texas via Zoom. Herman, thank you very much for being with us. Maraming salamat sa iyo.